You see, God is not in need of the big, tall, handsome quarterback. The advance of his church is not that he picks out amongst the cheerleaders from school. They have a place. Some have a significant place. But the story of God's redemptive purpose is not a story of might triumphing over might, but it is a story of weakness triumphing over strength. And it is that which is being set up here in the battle lines, in the emergence of the Philistine, and in his cries of defiance.
You're listening to Alistair Begg on Truth for Life. Alistair is walking us through the story of David and Goliath, and we'll hear more on Monday. If you're benefiting from these encouraging lessons in our study of 1 Samuel, you might want to own Alistair's teaching through the entire books of 1 and 2 Samuel on a USB. As you might guess, the series is titled A Study in 1 and 2 Samuel. It contains more than 100 sermons, and you can purchase it for our cost of just $5. Shipping is free in the United States. Look for the USB in the app or online at truthforlife.org/store. And if you have not yet requested a copy of the book Man of Sorrows, King of Glory, you'll want to do that today. We're only offering this book through the weekend. This is a wonderful book that packs a lot of rich theology in just a few pages. Request the book Man of Sorrows, King of Glory when you give a donation online at truthforlife.org/donate or call us at 888-588-7884. I'm Bob Lepine. We hope you have a great weekend. Hope you're able to worship with your local church this weekend. Join us Monday as we'll learn how God used a sandwich-bearing shepherd as his chosen champion. The Bible teaching of Alistair Begg is furnished by Truth for Life, where the learning is for living.
Greenville, Dallas.
The human race, made up of different people who have different personalities, but all have one thing in common. We all came from the womb. No one just magically appeared. Life begins at conception, and every life is precious to God. We believe it's our duty and a privilege to stand and fight for the sanctity of life, and we hope you'll continue to stand with us. For all you do to defend the unborn, thank you from AFA.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Mr. Key. President Biden says there's nothing of, quote, great consequence in those classified documents that were leaked online. Peter Ducey reports in Dublin, Ireland, where he's following the president.
President Biden hasn't said anything about this since yesterday when he pretty much downplayed everything. However, in the chain of command further down, people with access to intelligence product got an email from the Pentagon, and there was one line in bold. It said, "Do not access or download documents with classified markings from unclassified websites, either from home or work." Officials at the White House have referred us to the Justice Department. They want the focus of this story to be on the pending charges, but there are many others who want the attention to be on a faulty system.
Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy kicked off a 5-day bus tour in New Hampshire yesterday. He's promoting an agenda that he says will take America First to the next level. He calls it America First 2.0.
Look, I'm an America First conservative. I am all in for the America First agenda. But to put America first, we need to rediscover what America is. And that's what my policy set of commitments is all about. I'm looking at actually taking that agenda that Donald Trump took so far, take it to the next level. Actually shut down the government agencies that created the problems in the first place. Actually use the power of an executive order to end race-based affirmative action in America. Really to go even further than any U.S. president has, abandoning the climate call to unleash the American economy. And I think people across the state are hungry for that message.
Major progress in an industrial fire in eastern Indiana that's raged on for days. More from Jeff Manassa.
Richmond Mayor Dave Snow said Tuesday has been fully extinguished ahead of schedule as the focus turns to collecting air and water samples in the eastern Indiana town to determine whether the evacuation order affecting some 1,500 people can be lifted. Fire investigators say the blaze that was fueled by plastic destroyed multiple buildings in the complex. The business was previously cited and barred from accepting more plastic for resale following a 2020 cleanup order. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Florida is joining several other Republican states in passing legislation banning most abortions after about 6 weeks. Former Vice President Mike Pence is voicing his support for the bill.
Florida now becomes the 20th state in the union to protect unborn children at the moment that a heartbeat begins. And I will tell you, we've had 3 granddaughters born in the last 2 years. I don't think there's a family out there that hasn't thrilled at the sound on an ultrasound when you hear the little pitter-patter of that heartbeat.
A conservative activist is commending the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee for taking a field trip to New York City. More from Chad Groening.
Republican Chairman Jim Jordan will be leading the hearing on Monday called Victims of Violent Crime in Manhattan. The Judiciary Committee says it will examine how Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's pro-crime, anti-victim policies have led to an increase in violent crime and has created a dangerous community for New York City residents. Gary Bauer is chairman of the Campaign for Working Families.
I commend Chairman Jordan for taking the hearings to New York City. It's the iconic American city. It's the city that the world sees and hears about more than any other city in America. And it's a city that is no longer the Big Apple. It's a big disaster. It's being swallowed up by out-of-control crime.
Bauer says that out-of-control crime is not going to get any better as long as the George Soros-supported Bragg remains DA.
And Chairman Jordan is doing exactly the right thing. I just hope that the police of New York will be able to provide him and the other committee members protection, because as we're seeing daily, the radical left, who are the stormtroopers for the Democrat Party, disrupting conservatives and attacking anybody that speaks up for Judeo-Christian values, normalcy, law and order, no matter where it is in the country.
Bauer says Jordan is a fighter who will not back down. I'm Chad Groening.
More news online at afn.net and the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello, this is Ron Cook, Director of Localization with American Family Radio. If your church or 501c3 organization has announcements to share, please visit afr.net/PSA and follow the instructions there. We must receive your PSA request form at least 2 weeks in advance of your event. Why would we do this? Because our listeners are important to us and we want to help. So let us know how at afr.net/PSA. Thanks.
Bishop of the Called Churches and founder and president of STAND. Staying true to America's national destiny, the voice of the awakening. Your host, Bishop E.W. Jackson.
And I am he. Great to be with you again today, folks, and hope you are having a wonderful day. Wow, we've got a big program planned for you today because I'll be joined here shortly by Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, retired, of course, former congressman, and we're going to have an interesting discussion with him. So I will have him with me long enough to take some of your calls and hope that you all will join in and ask him questions and have some discussion with him. Great patriot, great man of God, dear friend of mine. And it so happens that he's going to be an honoree at our Stand Awards dinner that is going to take place on May the 16th at the Tyson's Corner Marriott in Northern Virginia. So I hope that some of you, all of you, can join us. We'll be honoring Alan West and along with Dr. Alveda King and former Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann and Andrew Womack. Those are our honorees for this year's Stand Awards dinner. So I'm going to be joined here shortly by Alan West, and we'll be talking to him about his thoughts on what is going on in our country right now. By the way, if you are watching on video, as I know many of you are, this is the George Washington Award. We give our honorees what's called the George Washington Award for taking a stand. And there is the general, the first president of the United States.
figure, because I really believe that God used him, and without him, we would not have a country today. We would not be free today. We might be genuflecting or curtsying, whatever they do to some British king. Nothing personal against the British, but I am not a monarchy person. I like constitutional republic, representative government. That will do for me. Thank you very much. Look, I also want to share with you folks an alert coming from our offices here at American Family Radio and American Family Association. You know that President Trump issued an executive order known as the Free Inquiry Rule, which basically said that institutions that receive federal funds have to promote free inquiry, free expression, academic freedom, protect freedom of speech on college campuses, particularly to protect religious organizations and to stop these colleges and universities from doing things like kicking Christian groups off campus because they want their leaders to be Christians, which is now considered discriminatory and racist and all this nonsense. Well, that executive order, the Free Inquiry Rule, excuse me, folks, I got a cough button. Yes, you'll be using it. That executive order is right now subject to be rescinded by President Biden, and that should not happen. I mean, basically what he wants to do is force a Christian group to have an atheist as its president. Basically undermine Christianity is really what this is about. Another attack on Christianity. And of course, to be able to ban Christian groups from campus altogether so that their influence can no longer be felt on campus. So we're asking you to stop the Department of Education and stop the president by letting the Department of Education know your views. Submit your comments to the Department of Education. You can go to our website, afa.net, and you can click on Submit Your Comment to the Department of Education, and just urge the Department of Education, another reason why we don't need a Department of Education, but urge it not to remove protections for faith-based campus groups. And there's a sample comment there for you to be guided by. So, folks, we've got to stop this war on Christianity, and there is a war on Christianity, and we've got to stop them at every turn and pray that we get godly leadership that will help restore the centrality of Christianity and Judeo-Christian values to our culture, because those are the values that made America the greatest nation in the history of mankind. Well, look, I've got a lot that I'm going to talk to Alan West about. But before I do that, I want to mention to you, before we take the next break, I want to mention to you that we have my new book available to you, and I hope you'll take advantage of it, Sweet Land of Liberty. If you're watching right now, there it is. Reflections of a Patriot Descended from Slaves. And folks, this book is really having an impact, and thank God, on the people who are reading it. I just got a comment from a friend just a couple of days ago telling me what an impact it had on him, and that he wants to share it with lots and lots of people, particularly wants to share it with a lot of his black friends so that they can read this and get a different perspective than what they're getting from the mainstream media, from the CRT crowd, and from this basically race-obsessed crowd that is telling everybody, as I said yesterday, that race is all. And so you've got universities now having to set up separate gym times for BIPOCs, black and indigenous people of color. I mean, this book is an antidote to all of that. So I hope you'll get it at our website, our publisher's website, faithfultext.com, faithfultext.com, or you can go to our website and get it, standamerica.us. And if you want to sign up as a Patriot Partner, as I said before, for a minimum of $25 a month, I'll send you a free signed numbered copy of the book. Well, the madness continues, doesn't it? Today, we are now chronicling, folks, is something that we have been doing for quite some time.
But today, it is my sorrow to have to inform you that another child was murdered. This child was murdered in Georgia while sleeping in the bed when gunshots came through the wall and killed the child dead sleeping in the bed. 322 children murdered since the defund the police movement began. And of course, these children are overwhelmingly black. But you won't hear Black Lives Matter talk about that, because unless a person happens to be killed in a confrontation with a police officer, nobody really cares in the mainstream media. They're not interested. They're only interested in people who die in such a way that they can say, see, it's racism. They're out to get black people. But innocent children dying at the hands of black thugs that are roaming the streets of a city and taking people's lives by the hundreds, not so important. That doesn't matter. Those lives don't matter because they don't fit their sick narrative. So, folks, this is something, in fact, we are launching a new website. I'll let you know when it's up, called the Forgotten Children Project, in which we're going to be calling attention to all these children who have been murdered in the streets of our cities, in their homes, in their backyards. Innocent kids. This child was 11 years old, sleeping, folks, sleeping. Little girl. Say just a wonderful kid, but the thugs don't matter. And I probably shared this with you all, that I had a woman whose child was murdered talking to the police, and the police said, when we catch the people who do such stuff, and we tell them, you killed a 3-year-old, you killed a 3-month-old, you killed a 5-year-old, 11-year-old, they say, collateral damage. That's the level of hardness of heart that is out there, and we've got to address it. Back in a moment.
This is Viewpoints with Kirby Anderson. In years past, when I would speak on a university campus, I expected to encounter antagonism and a contemptuous attitude. Even though my advanced degrees were often superior to those of a hostile faculty and students, they would often be dismissive of my academic credentials. And that's what I came to expect. But that's not what liberals expected and are now facing on a regular basis. Jon Stewart, the former host of The Daily Show, recently reflected on how he was treated by the left. He was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and he suggested that the virus came from a lab leak in Wuhan, China. He was shocked at the blowback from his appearance and said it was equivalent to putting a Hillary for Prison sign on his head. The condemnation, he said, was swift, immediate, and quite loud. Critics said that this liberal had aligned himself with the alt-right. Matt Taibbi has been a journalist with Rolling Stone as the author of 10 books, 4 of which are New York Times bestsellers. But you wouldn't know that if you watched how Democrats treated him at the House Judiciary Committee hearing on free speech. One congresswoman, for example, called him a so-called journalist, while others pressed him to reveal his source of the Twitter files. Other Democrats accused him and Michael Schellenberger of wearing tinfoil hats and suggested they were only in it for the money. Both left-of-center journalists probably didn't know what hit them. Add these latest examples to many other stories of liberals being criticized and even vilified by the left. TV host Bill Maher, author J.K. Rowling, comedian David Chappelle, and podcaster Joe Rogan are just a few of the liberals surprised by the leftist blowback I used to receive on campus. I'm Kirby Anderson, and that's my point of view. For a free copy of Kirby's booklet, A Biblical View on Racism, go to viewpoints.info/racism. That's viewpoints.info/racism.
Hey, you ever think when you pray, you gotta know the difference between asking and thanking? You want a job? Ask him. Maybe he'll give you one. You want to date that girl you've had your eye on? Ask God. He's into setting things like that up sometimes. You're a parent. You wish your teenager would drop the cell phone for a change. Ask God. That might be something he'll do for you. You want God to love you? to forgive you, keep you? Don't ask. Just thank Him. You see, that's what God does. You don't have to ask God to be God. I'm Steve Brown. You think about that. Share what you just heard with a friend. Go to youthinkaboutthat.com.
The Awakening. The Awakening. Download and listen at your leisure with the podcast page at afr.net. Now, back to our host, Bishop E.W. Jackson.
Well, folks, my guest is someone I'm really honored to have on. He is not only a friend, but someone that I deeply admire. He served our country in combat, both in Operation Desert Storm and the Iraq War. And I know that this is not something he talks about, but it's important for me to tell you that he is indeed the holder of the Meritorious Service Medal, the two oak leaf clusters, the Bronze Star, Army Commendation Medal, the 3 oak leaf clusters, and on it goes with his achievements in the field of military and combat. I mention that because, it's one thing to theorize about how important liberty is. It's another thing to put your life on the line to defend the liberty of the American people, and that's what he has done. Of course, he's a former congressman, and there's so much more I can say about him, but I want to give you an opportunity to talk to him. So, Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, former congressman, welcome to The Awakening.
It is always a pleasure to be with you, Bishop Jackson, and you're too kind. And look, thank you for your service to this country and the United States Marine Corps, what you continue to do to uplift the principles and values of our national heritage and our destiny.
Well, thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate that. Look, right off the bat, I want to ask you to give us your assessment of how serious the situation is with China right now, because we're seeing China making very aggressive moves. And even in our own Congress, we're hearing people saying that criticizing China is somehow racist and xenophobic. So give us your assessment of where we are and how we ought to view the situation.
Well, China is our number one geopolitical foe, and really China has declared war against the United States of America. It's not just that they're defeating us economically, but they're killing Americans. When you look at COVID, this is not something that came from some wet market. This was something that leaked out of the Wuhan lab there, and that's, of course, where they have their national military chemical and biological warfare laboratory as well. So they are killing Americans through the coronavirus, and they're killing Americans through the fentanyl that comes from China, is shipped down to the transnational narco-criminal terrorists known as the Mexican cartels, and they bring it across the border. 100,000 Americans have lost their lives because of fentanyl overdoses, the number one killer of America's 18 to 45. And then when you look at what is happening with our maritime